Hello everyone, welcome to Last Week On. My name is Adam Straughan and we are back covering Invincible Season 4, Episode 4. But before we get into that, cheers. You've already heard his voice, you already know him from this podcast. It is my friend, the co-host of My Bloody Duty and the host of SlayFest 98. It's Ian Carlos Crawford. Welcome back, Ian.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Of course, thank you so much for doing your penance and covering this episode with me. Honestly, I appreciate it. So obviously this isn't the greatest episode. Like, let's not beat around the bush. It's crazy that this episode was actually written by Robert Kirkman himself. When I saw that name at the end, I was like, oh.
So I talked about it with my students today, this morning. Nice. And they kind of were like, well, yeah, but we think, and this is what I kind of said this, but maybe retroactively we will appreciate this more because maybe it'll become important. Because the season's moving pretty fast. So like, you know, at the end of this episode, we already get Nolan back. So, and Conquest has already escaped. So it almost feels like there'll be, which is not unheard of for Invincible, multiple things happening at the end. Mm-hmm. And maybe one will retroactively make this more enjoyable or more like relevant. So that way it's like, oh, now I know those characters. So I kind of like them. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, it's a stretch, but that's my hope.
No, that's a fair point as well. I mean, we know a couple of things already. So, like, the storyline with Damien Darkblood and obviously his sister and all of that, that was a storyline that Robert Kirkman wanted to include in the original comic, but it was cut. So, obviously, this is his opportunity to then, you know, write and explore that. But you're right. Like, you know, Invincible has so many fucking characters like in the world, so there could be something in which, you know, Damien plays a bigger part, and obviously by the end of the episode he is given like a mission by Satan, so maybe her like initial plan like connects to another character that we've already seen, or like, you know, we don't know that right now. And obviously this is kind of uncharted territory for people who read the comics as well, because like this character was done and is never seen again. So like even now, like, you know, I've read a lot of the comic. I'm not at the end, but I'm getting a little bit closer now. Even now I'm like, yeah, I have no idea where this is going to connect, where they're going with this, and they always do change a few little things around. So I'm intrigued for that. But just as, I don't know, when I think back to like episode 1 of Invincible, when like you and I watched it freshly and like we didn't know Mark from Spider-Man, right? Like we didn't know him at all. That was so much more of an engaging introduction into his world and this world than I feel what this was. And you and I both said it was like, it felt like a slog to get to the good stuff.
Yeah. It really felt like, when I was talking to Zach, I said it was like an episode of He-Man almost. Like it just feels like there's nothing wrong with like, you know, going outside the genre, but like it just, I don't know, there's a way in which it sort of worked better. It just didn't, I don't know.
I know. There was just, it just felt a little bit undercooked. I don't know. I don't know what it was. And for all that, you know, in a way it shouldn't be, because this is a storyline clearly he's been sitting on for like 20 years at this point. So like, how is it undercooked? But I don't know. And as you said, Ian, like, let's just hold out hope that it does connect in some way, because, you know, they haven't let us down before. So I guess like we will see like where it connects in that genre. But yeah, I mean, this episode, it's the lowest rated episode ever of the series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sitting at 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Oof. But it's the lowest rated. There was another one that was like kind of like just over it, and then this has just slipped under now. But, you know, and the thing is as well, is this the worst episode of television I've ever seen? Like, no. But is it the worst episode of Invincible that I've seen? Yeah. You know, and that's the standard, I guess, we're going at. But yeah, like a lot of great talent in here. You know, like we've got Clancy Brown, we've got Bruce Campbell, Kate Mulgrew, we've got Chloe Bennett for a tiny role, you know, and then it's fascinating. Obviously, we'll get to the villain later on, who is an actress who I always forget the name of, but I see her in everything. So we'll get to her as well later on, Volcanica. But yeah, I guess we'll start at like the kind of best part, which is the opening, and then obviously the end as well. But we'll get to that. So I really like this opening where Mark is talking to Art. And I kind of like this because, like, you know, Mark's been, you know, for a while, like, yes, you know, he has Debbie and he has the family unit, but he has been missing, like, that father figure for a while now. At this point, he doesn't even know if Nolan's alive. Because the last time he saw him was on that, you know, planet. He got his back broken and he was taken away by the other Viltrumites. So as far as Mark's concerned, like, his dad is dead. And I like that Art has always kind of been, like, this weird kind of, like, fatherly uncle type figure to him because he knows Nolan so well. And obviously, you know, this conversation, the way it plays out, I love that, you know, Mark is still sitting with this feeling of, did I do the right thing? And am I the person who is right to be making these choices, right? And I mean, of course, he's a young guy. He's like battling with that. And it's, you know, it's interesting. Like, Art is the one who reassures him and is like, look, the fact that you're worried about this makes you not your dad. So, like, you've got to remember that. And that means something, right?
Yeah. And I mean, he's right. I mean, right. Yeah. Like, I thought that was like very correct, not advice, but something to tell him, because Nolan didn't care.
Literally. No, I didn't give a shit. Like, how many people did Nolan wipe out? And like, how many times has he said, these people mean nothing to me. My own wife is a pet. You know, like, it's so obvious. And like, even like when you watch later on in the next episode, when there's a conversation between, this isn't too much of a spoiler, but between Nolan and Art, you see how different that interaction is compared to this interaction he has with Mark. But yeah, no, I think it was the absolute right thing to say to him, you know, and he needs to reassure him, like, Mark, with that, because again, he even says, look, if I'd been in that situation, would I have done the same thing? Probably. I would have wanted you to do the same thing, because the consequences of not doing that would have been chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah. I do understand from Mark's point of view. Like, I don't think he did anything wrong, but I understand why that would upset him, right? Because he doesn't want to be his dad, and he's not, but I understand, you know, your brain, when like logically you and I could be like, but you're not your dad. That's not, he's already not being Nolan, but I can understand why Mark as the person would be like, oh, am I becoming him? My dad did a lot of murder. I can understand why he's struggling with it, but when it comes down to it, he was not wrong. Right,
exactly. And I guess, like, you know, going back to like what you and I discussed in episode 1 of the season, Ian, where like everyone is looking at Mark like, oh, he's the guy, one of them that destroyed our city. That's the last way he ever wants to be looked at, because again, it's like, oh, like father, like son, huh? And that's exactly what I wants to avoid. So again, with this, as you just said perfectly there, you can understand why it's eating at him. And I love the line when he's like, I love the line when he says, there's a line. And like, but like, who gets to decide that line, right? Is it Mark? Is it Cecil? You know, like, it's an interesting question to ponder on that. Of course it is. But it is nice, like, as you said, like, perfectly there, to contrast that with Nolan. He didn't give a fuck about any lines. He didn't care. Like, as long as it suited him, that's all he was asked about, right?
I mean, episode 1, we watched him murder all of his teammates and, like, didn't really blink.
Literally. So... There's no line when it comes to Nolan, and you'll see that in the next episode when you get to that as well, because, woof.
Piss me off again.
You'll see. I do like that Art gives him his old costume back, though. Like, I think this is what Mark needed as well, especially in that moment. Obviously, you know, symbolically, this is who you are, reminding you of who you are, right? But I love the way Mark, like, looks at that and he's like, oh, I don't feel worthy to wear that. And it's like, no, this is you. This is Invincible. This is you. This is your costume. Take it. Plus, it's like nice to see the classic back.
I will say, I didn't quite understand that.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was like, he's still him. Like, I didn't get the significance of giving him his old costume. Because I don't know, it's not like the new one's like so far off from it. It's just, you know, kind of the same thing with a different color scheme. Yeah. Not even that different. It's still blue and black, just not yellow. Yeah. So I was like, I guess this is just a metaphor for like, that was when he was young and naive and like, look, you're still good, just older. I don't know.
I like that uniform. I like it. I like the classics. So I'm like, bring it back. Good on you, Art, for keeping a hold of that. But yeah, so he gets a phone call, obviously, that there is a job that he needs to go to. So obviously, like, Eve set up this whole Invincible Inc., where he goes and does like jobs to rescue people. And it's like, hey, you got to go and do this thing right the hell now. Then we go to hell. Like, literally and metaphorically, we go to fucking hell. So then we get the introduction to Domina and Damien. So they are brother and sister. As I say, great voice talent. Feels wasted, but great voice talent. And obviously, you know, they're out to kill Volcanica, who is voiced by Indira Varma, I think that's how you pronounce her name, but she's from Game of Thrones. She's in Star Wars. Like, she's one of those actresses that you see in like so many things. I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize her. And I have to say, like, at first, like, when I heard her voice, I was like, I wonder who that is. Oh, it's her. Okay, cool.
It is good voice acting. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh my God. She's so fucking good in this role.
Yeah.
For such like a, you know, a lesser kind of villain like that we've never seen before, she does eat in this role. She does it really well. Also, Damien just takes 12 years to say anything and it drives me nuts. Like, I'm so sorry, but I'm just like, get to the fucking point.
I feel like it doesn't bother me as much in the context when he's in the real world with Mark because everything else. But like, yeah, it's like when he's in this like weird He-Man hell dimension and also talking slow, I'm like, Right. Come on, I get it. Like,
Literally, like, no wonder she's still alive reigning hell because you have taken 12 years to say one thing. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, do I like the dynamic with him and his sister? Yeah, I mean, it's just whatever. Like, we don't really get to learn a lot of it, but okay. For me, I'm like, I like the dynamic more of like the voice actors together than the actual characters. But yeah, so obviously I have that big fight. Volcanica ends up exploding Domina, like on the floor. And then obviously there's that big thing moment when he picks up the skull, puts it against his, and he's like, oh my God, and like drags the bodies away. And then he gets to go and talk to Satan, who is the one and only Bruce Campbell, who you and I, Ian, have a soft spot for because, man, that man in Evil Dead is just brilliant. Like, he is just, I think I mean, again, like brilliant voice actor, brilliant character actor, and I think he's a really good choice for this role. I just wish he had like a bigger role that he could sink his teeth into, if I'm honest.
yeah, I think I was trying to think of that because it is, if we're going for like a more horror-y episode, I mean, Bruce Campbell is like the horror guy, right?
Hello.
So it's like, in theory, it's good casting. It just, yeah, it feels like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, maybe we'll come back to this and he will be an important character. And then it's like, oh, cool, we have Bruce Campbell for more episodes.
Right.
But I don't quite see that happening. I can see something that happened in this episode tying into later. Like, that's what I think might happen.
Right.
But yeah, and Bruce Campbell, he has such a distinct voice. Like, he's like impossible not to recognize if you know who Bruce Campbell, right? Like, right away, it's like, oh, Satan is Bruce Campbell. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, literally, like, chop that Satan's arm off, put a chainsaw on there, like, let's fucking do this. Like, it is literally that, yeah. But you're right, so iconic, and, like, yeah, he's just, I don't know, there's just something about Bruce Campbell, it's hard not to like that man, like, in any role, you know? So, like, he really does bring that energy to this role, which is, for all, like, intents and purposes, in this episode is kind of a nothing moment, like, and I'll talk about that later on. He becomes this big, huge version of Satan and does fuck all with it. So, like, you know, it could have just stayed the little, what is it, the little Yoda Satan, like, jumping around with a stick? Like, it could have stayed like that. But, you know, whatever, we'll get to that. But yeah, so obviously he's talking to Satan for a little bit. They obviously he does some blood ritual, which is going to be taking the bodies to start to resurrect them, to resurrect his sister as well. And then Damien does, I actually did like to see this again, like him like marking the pentagram on the floor, because if you remember way back in season 1, 40 years ago, Cecil did that ritual with him. And then that's when the chains came out, they grabbed him and pulled him down into hell. So I quite like that, seeing him do this again and like doing the same incantation, I believe. Obviously, he's doing this to think he's going to get Nolan, and he ends up pulling Mark down. He's like, oh, okay, I didn't expect to see you, but I guess you'll do. And it's interesting as well because, like, you and I have just said, Ian, like, you and I are going through hell, do this. But obviously Mark is literally within himself going through hell and then is literally going through hell.
I do have a question. I couldn't remember. I meant to look it up, but I forgot. So Damien, like, was expecting Nolan.
Yeah.
But wasn't Damien onto it that it was Nolan that did all the murders?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, like, I guess, like, he just wanted him to help him murder this woman, you know? But, like, yes, he was, like, sent to investigate, right? So he was, like, the one who had his...
Because that's why Cecil got rid of him, right? Because he was onto it.
Yeah, because he was, like, going to expose it. So he was like, nope, we need to get rid of you, yeah. So it's interesting. It is a little bit of that gray area of, like, yeah, like, why aren't you talking more about that? But I guess you just wanted a superpower guy to take out this woman, but then...
Because he does say later, him and Mark, I forget when... They have that conversation, and he does say, like, oh, there's some things you can put aside, or like this would be bigger than that. And it's like, I don't think Nolan would have thought that. I just don't.
No.
I feel like it would have killed Damien and been like, now I'm flying out of hell. I don't know.
Like blasting out just to go back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does say that later on when Mark's asking him a lot of questions. He's like, oh, you'd make a great detective. Like Nolan would never ask, he would just punch. And that's kind of true, you know? So he is reading him to filth there, but it is absolutely correct. We do obviously get this, you know, like Mark is obviously like, what the fuck, what's going on? And they have that long chat and he's just like, all right, okay, like, you know, whatever, I'll kind of help you out, I guess, because if I don't, it could impede obviously Earth because she is trying to break up into the sky to then get out and rain hell on Earth. But it's like, okay.
But also, it's crazy that he's like, I was doing something, and he doesn't go back to Chloe Bennett's character at all. Like, It's like he's like, oh well, she's fine.
Yeah, she'll be okay. And like, it's so funny again because that itself is like a joke that has been added into the series of like, you know, this pharaoh, like this misogynistic ghost pharaoh who's like, I don't want to go inside of a woman, like possess her, and then he's just like, fuck it at the end, and obviously goes inside of her. Where that's gonna go, who knows?
Is that's not in the comics, right?
Nope, that's all new for the show. So it's like this reoccurring joke.
And didn't she have her girlfriend with her?
Yes. Yeah.
Where I don't remember what something happened to her that
there was something that happened to her. I remember there was something that happened to her. I can't remember what. I think I do remember that they were going to try and get out, and I think Mark and it might have been Oliver were like they flew over the desert and they were going that fast. They like buried them in the sand again, which is why they couldn't get out initially. But I can't remember what happened to the girlfriend. But I mean, okay. Yeah. Whatever. But I mean, is she going to be there in the final fight in this form, fighting the Viltrumites? I don't fucking know, but listen, let's do it. But yeah, even that storyline, no idea where that's going. So I guess we'll see what happens there. This is, you know, again, a little bit funny when it's like they keep mentioning the Invincible title card. I think they do it 3 times when it like pops on, off, pops on, off.
That did make me laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're kind of waiting for it. You're like, they're going to up. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Oh my God, Ian, this conversation that Damien gives Mark, this whole lecture about in the third age, we don't talk of the third. I was like, just fucking get on with it. Like, what are we doing? In my notes, I'm like, it gives him this long, boring talk about different ages, and I'm just done.
It is like, it's so weird for something. It feels like we didn't need that. Like, it's like, I get it. I don't know. She's trying to take over hell. Whatever. Fine.
Right.
And like, it really does. It's like, we're talking for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said this to you when you were texting. I think what would have made this episode better, instead of waiting for the end for the Eve stuff, just like, let's flash to Eve and William. Maybe they're like going to get lunch and she's waiting to tell him. I think that would have broken it up a little bit more to like go back to Earth rather than just straight hell Damien and Mark the whole time.
I agree. No, 100%. It would have been nice, like, as another kind of layer of metaphor, like, to cut to the different characters and show each character in their own personal hell that they're going through, you know, and, like, that would have, like, given it a bit more substance. But you're right. No, that would have been great, like, because the scene that we get with, like, Eve and William, it's obviously so short and so compact. They could have been, like, having a day together, you know, and, like, being like, oh, my God, how do I tell Mark about this? What do you think? And let's go and chat to Rick and see what he thinks. You know, like, they could have made something of it, but, you know, alas. If we ever do a rewrite,
Ian... I know, if they ask us to do it. But so I looked up on the wiki, Jane is her girlfriend.
Gotcha.
So I think in this episode, it's supposed to be she's going back.
Oh, to get
because
help?
It says... Yeah. Well, it says, so what is it? Riley is Chloe Bennett's character.
Mm-hmm.
The last paragraph of, Invincible War. During the Invincible War, fight between the immortal and evil Invincible variant unearthed the tomb, allowing Riley to escape with a weakened Jane. The former only survived in peak condition thanks to her own abilities. She quickly left the desert carrying Jane to get her aid, but not before berating Kahor for his sexist views, exclaimed he was happy to get rid of the two of them, and pointed out how his people must have imprisoned him for a good reason, calling him a misogynist jerk. She carried a very weak Jane out of the temple and reassured her she would live.
Okay. All right.
So I guess maybe this was her being like, she called Invincible and was like, we need to go get...
yeah. Actually, that would make more sense, because she wouldn't take her girlfriend if she's obviously in, you know, some condition. Right. That would make more sense, yeah. But yeah, and obviously that spirit can't leave the cave. So like, if she remembers where it is, like, hey, Invincible, come and take this guy out. I don't know how Mark exactly would do that, but you know, take out a ghost, sends it with a proton pack on, and like sucks it in. But
like that's something that's like, Damien, you can help with this after I help you with hell.
Right. Oh my God, that would have been perfect. Like he's like, you know, like putting like the ritual down and like sucking him into hell. That would have been amazing. Yeah. Oh my God. Let's rewrite this episode, Ian, for Christ's sake.
There you go, we got it.
Jesus Christ. All right. But yes, in this huge exposition dump, we do get that Damien says, oh, we need like the vial, which turns out to be like the crown thing, which is obviously protected by her. And then they decide to jump down the bottomless pit. Now, I will say, the helmet on and off thing, I was just like, okay, like it feels like a milked joke. But what I did like in this conversation, this is actually one moment that I actually love this as a writing point, is I like the conversation when Mark asks him, he's like, oh, so is like heaven real? And then he says basically like, oh, it's not. And he says like, oh, make earth heaven instead of imagining one in the sky. And I think actually that's quite beautiful and really meaningful. And I love that. I love that conversation and just that thought, right, of like all of us trying to make the best of what we have and making, our lives better in the ways that we have control to do that, like on earth, for each other, for yourself. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really beautiful metaphor and that was really nice.
The part of that I really liked actually was him. I forget the exact line, but he says something like, there's not balance like you think there is in the world. Like,
yeah,
I really liked that because that felt more realistic to me. I don't know. Yeah.
100% true. I mean, we're talking about a show that is the grayest of gray, and like,
right.
And obviously Mark, like, kind of needed to hear that as well, right? Because he's balanced, like,
so.
He's like wrestling with this moral decision of like, it's morally good or it's morally bad. And we've seen like how that affects Mark, right? How he's like, no, this is the right thing to do. We should be doing this. Like, we can't be doing that because that makes us evil, aka that makes us like my dad. So I like that, and Cecil is probably the most grayest character, I'd probably say.
Yeah.
So like, I like that hearing that from another person puts kind of Cecil into perspective for Mark a little bit more, puts other people into perspective. So yeah, and Damien is 100% right, like in that, like completely right. But yeah. But I did like that, and I thought like it was just nice writing there for like those characters in an episode that doesn't have the greatest storytelling. Yeah. And then obviously they land and they end up fighting. Well, what do they end up fighting, Ian, when they get down there? You remember?
Wait, isn't it just more of the monsters?
There's the big 3-headed dog, remember?
Oh, right. Right. God.
Had such an impression on you. Yeah, do you remember like this is when he throws him up, right? Throws Damien up into the bottomless pit, and you just hear a lot of fighting.
Wait, I wanted to point out I did like when they're I liked the pit. The pit was like maybe the stuff I liked. I didn't mind the helmet joke. It was a little bit of like, all right, yeah, but I liked. I felt like Damien got a little bit more personality there, where it's like, I was like, huh, he's just kind of like doing a goof.
Yeah,
but I liked that he is like. Just Invincible says something like about flying, and he's like, you don't have enough. You like use less energy if you just let yourself fall. Yeah. And I kind of liked when Mark is kind of like, oh, this does feel nice when he's just like falling.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of like that.
No, that is cool, and like it, that is interesting because like will Mark take that forward like when he's flying later and be like, oh hey Oliver, by the way, if you just let yourself fall, like you're all good.
Yeah, but I mean, they're super strong, so it's fine, right?
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, they hit the ground, you're all good. But yeah, like I will say, like you are right, 100%. Like it was nice to see that injection of personality into Damien rather than just being like me talk really slow and exposition dump, So, and it was nice to see, and like we do get a little bit more of that later on as well, like him caring for his sister and like all of that, and when he takes his fucking Batman pose at the end of the episode, But I will say, like, all of this, like, going for the vial/crown, like, and, as I said, like, when they grab it and then, like, take it over, and, like, I like as well how Mark just casually throws it. That's it. And he's like, whoa, wait! And, like, and then he catches it. But then, I don't know, like, this whole transition, I've just got, isn't this completely pointless? Because, like, he puts it on, it makes him, like, a bigger version of him, like the Satan from fucking South Park. And, like,
right. That's what it looked like, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, with the mouth and everything, like, honestly. Yeah, the tiny head. I'm like, he makes Satan beast mode, but like he does nothing with it. Like nothing. Like later on, like the big fight, he doesn't do anything. He gets the spikes put straight through him, and it's like, well, what was the point of that?
I thought he was gonna die, and I was gonna be
Same.
Not a sentence I thought I would say, but I was gonna be mad if Satan died. Because like then it's like, well, then what did we do any of this for? So at least he survived. But like you said, he didn't do it. Like the crown didn't really seem to do much.
No. Like, made him big into beast mode, made him South Park devil, but that was it. Like, not really much going on.
I almost feel like I would have liked it better if they just straight up were like, oh, the crown is just like, he needs it. Like, no one will listen to him in hell unless he has the crown or something.
Right. Yeah.
Like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just another, like, little rewrite or something on that, because I'd say it was just, I don't know, just kind of pointless. Like, the fucking, like, weapon that his sister gives him to fight with probably has more meaning than what that crown had,
Yeah, right? Yeah.
like for all, like, you know, at least he does something with it. But I don't know. I did like the needle drop of Raining Blood by Slayer. I thought that was really cool. Like, just, you know, that injection of I am a metalhead. Sort of hear that in this show. I was like, okay, damn, here we go. We are doing stuff. And I like that as well. Like, you know, Volcanica, I actually like her as a villain in terms of how bad she is. In, like, they keep knocking her head off, she just comes back, you know, and it's like, oh, okay. And like, even that after this huge fight, like, they still don't kill her, like, right? Like, Mark does keep knocking her head off. I like when, like, he kicks her head off and keeps doing it. And then at the end, she's just like, oh, yeah. And then, like, kind of, like, seeps down into the cracks. And I like her as a potential. I'd like to see more of her. I'd like to see more of her come back. Because as you say, like, to link it briefly to the end of the episode, we still don't really know what her intentions were. And, like, that's obviously the mission that Satan gives to Damien to figure out why she wanted to take over on Earth.
I thought there was going to be a double cross. I was waiting at the end for it to be like, oh, look, Satan is Satan. They kind of bullshitted Mark and they like are evil.
Right.
But because that would have made, I think it would have, I don't know. I kind of like that it didn't happen because that would have been predictable, but almost it would have made a little bit more sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, leaning into like making a deal with the devil and like all of that. Like you said, like we've seen that kind of thing before. So if it happened, would have been like, okay. But yeah, like kind of now, like even just with all of this, like where big devil man, kind of pointless, you know, and like, I don't know whether, the thing is, ultimately, like, we don't know. And I'm just hoping, like, it's intentional. So as you said, Ian, like, later on, like, it comes back and we're like, oh, okay, so they were setting up this thing, which, you know, this show does do great setup, to be fair. So I'm hoping that it does have some type of payoff and doesn't just kind of flutter into nothing. But
and it does tend to bring things back.
Yes.
That Ian usually doesn't remember in the next season.
Yeah, this is true. Like, Machine Head, who is that guy? Now, I will say this conversation with even William, I actually do like. We need to talk about the new voice actor for William, though.
I like that actor. He is from the other two. He is great. He gives a really good speech in the other two that I related to because he's working retail.
Nice.
The main character. He's the main character's, the gay guy main character's best friend.
Oh, no. Okay.
And they like worked at a restaurant together. And he plays the guy that has not gotten out of, like, he's working at a like clothing store. And the main guy is like an actor, but he's like constantly saying he's a failure. And he gives him a really good speech about like, shut the fuck up. I'm working retail and you are complaining to me about not being good enough and you're not asking me how I am. I feel like shit.
Right.
And I related to that because I was in retail for so long. I don't know that I love him as William. I am willing to give him more of a shot. It just felt, I understand sometimes when characters are recast, like it just happens.
Right.
When the actor is not just doing an impersonation of that previous actor. I understand that as like a thing. Like, I'm going to make it my own.
Right.
But, it just, I think, God, what the hell is his name? That voice actor that was him before?
Andrew Rannells.
He has like, his voice can pass as a teenager's voice.
Yes. Yeah.
This voice, and nothing wrong with it. This guy's probably same age as me, but his voice just sounded more adult.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like, and as well, like, you know, this kind of, it's like unfair in a way because this is like the first scene that we're hearing him and it's not the longest scene. So like, you know, he does with it what he can, but it's just so noticeably like different from like Rennell's take on the character.
I mean, his voice is so much deeper.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know, there's just certain inflections that we've had William for like the last 3 seasons. So like we've gotten used to hearing like Rennell's voice and like we've gotten used to hearing the inflections that he brings and the emotion that he brings and that kind of brattiness he brings with William as well, which I actually really like. And it felt like, I don't know, just like that kind of flame in him was gone. Now, you know, like going forward, like, will we get used to this character? Probably. Right. You know, it's just, we're judging him off one scene, right? But yeah, it was just very noticeable. And I was like, it kind of caught me off guard because for an episode that I wasn't enjoying to then get that, I was a little bit like, oh man, like this too, you know?
I also think they like did that actor dirty by doing that. Like, if like we had said, if they had gone back to them a few times in the episode, so we got to hear him talk a couple times, not just like 3 lines as a kicker at the end, I think it would have been a little less jarring. So it'd been like, okay, we're going back to him. We're hearing him talk more. Because I don't want to be that fan. I hate the fan that's like, oh, they changed something, it's bad. So like maybe I'll get used to it and I'll like it.
Yeah. And this is like, we're not saying fucking cancel the show and kill
Right,
William.
right.
It's just like, that would be absurd. But it's just like, it was just noticeable. That's all. But like, I still fucking love William, like ride or die for William, and like him and Rick, I love their relationship. And I'm just, it was just a little jarring, but I'm excited to see more of William always, So and it'll be nice to have like, just as you said, just more character moments with him, like between, him and Eve or like him and Mark, just to, I don't get more used to the character and just kind of flow back into that new voice. So I'm hoping so, but
because it did feel like last season they didn't really use William as much.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean. Like once you get these William scenes, like they just really have to land. So I hope like, I mean, and even this scene, like I really like this scene, like between him and Eve, like it's nice. We've always said this, right? Like whenever you see them hanging out with their friends outside of each other, it's always nice character stuff. That's the stuff we love in every fucking show that we watch. Like this is the good stuff.
And I couldn't remember, but William and Eve haven't had a lot of scenes, just them, right? I couldn't remember a lot of.
Not really.
Like I feel like I remember him being friends with Amber,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really remember him with Eve. So it was nice to see them just like. Because also, if it's like your partner's best friend, then like you're not that it makes you best friends, but it makes you friends, right? Mm-hmm. So and like, it's understandable that like she might turn to him when Mark's away.
100%. Like who, she's not going to go to Debbie, right? Like that's completely the wrong person to speak to in this conversation right now. But like, who knows, like Mark on a really well basis, like it's going to be William, and like, and he does say the right thing in this, which is like, if you're the doubts and everything, the feelings that you are having, you have got to have this conversation with Mark. Like, and in a way, he's kind of saying, I love that you've come to me and thank you. Like, I'm so excited for you. But at the same time, you got to be having this fucking conversation with Mark right now because he needs to know.
Well, and also, like, as Mark's best friend, I would feel like insane knowing that secret. Mm-hmm. And my best friend doesn't know. Like I would be like, you absolutely have to tell him before I see him. Like,
yeah, I'd be pulling my hair out, and like I'd be so fucking awkward. Like if Mark was there in front of me, I'd be like, hey, so yeah,
what do you think about having kids in your future?
Like, how do you see yourself as a dad for no reason?
What if you got someone pregnant? How would you react?
Yeah, hypothetically, Mark. He's like, why are you acting fucking weird? I don't know. Yeah, it would be.
Your voice has even changed.
But yeah, that would just that would eat me up. So like, yeah, like that conversation obviously as well. Like it nearly gets there, and obviously, but we'll get to that in a moment. But I like as well, like just seeing Mark like back in his original costume flying around, like once like the kind of the hell thing is over and he's allowed to leave. Yeah, just like back to reality, back to like just being free. And I always like that, like with the scenes with Mark, just seeing him fly around. It's just like, I don't know. It's just nice to see him just be like, okay, I'm not going to fight something. I'm not going to battle something. I just need to clear my head and this is how I do it.
Because especially, and then contrasted by, we know he's going to find out she's pregnant. We know that the Viltrumite war is on its way and or coming soon.
Right.
We know Conquest escaped. We know Nolan is going to, like, we didn't know he was coming back in a second, but we know he's coming back soon.
Right.
So it is nice to see Mark just get like a little moment of like, I feel good. Although I was like, Mark, but aren't you checked in on Chloe Bennett? Like,
yeah, exactly. He's just like, she'll be fine. Yeah, so again, like, though, I'm super intrigued to see what they're going to do with that storyline because hell knows, like I said, it's not in the comics. So, plus, like, we always love to hear a little bit of Chloe Bennett. So I'm always pleased to have her back on our screens in some way, or her voice on our screens in any way, although soon to be on our screens, right?
Excited for her in White Lotus.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't get the credit it deserves, so I'm like, good. I'm glad one of them got this, like, incredibly big role for, like, one of the most popular TV shows. Yeah.
Same. And she was so fucking good in that show.
Yeah,
as
she's
well.
so good. Yeah.
I'm so excited to see more of her, and just in a completely different role. I don't know what they're going to do, but I am excited. I can't wait to see her in that.
I'm kind of excited to see, like, if it's something fully different from her to like see her be like a character that's like, I don't know, like a rich bratty girl or like some nice socialite or something. I don't know. It'll be fun to see her.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to goth her up again like they did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for like 5 minutes.
She looked good. She looked good when they did that.
Listen, she looked amazing. I'm like, bring that goth aesthetic back, honestly. It's that character back. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. But I did like, so like he goes around and he checks in with Debbie, and Debbie's explaining to them that, I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to move in with Paul. I actually low-key really liked Oliver being bratty about it. And he's like, I don't want to live with him. Paul's boring. And like, this is my home. And this version of Oliver, like, somewhere I should hate, but I just love him. I just find him hilarious.
Well, I think it's because he's just being bratty. He's not like, I don't think he really means it.
No.
Because what?
No.
Then like 2 seconds later is when he's like, all right, but I get to pick the biggest room. Like, he doesn't care. He's fine.
Yeah.
I think he meant it that he does think Paul's a little boring, but he
100%.
doesn't care that much.
Right. And I mean, comparatively, I know he hasn't really seen a lot of Nolan. Last time he saw him was when he was a baby. But like, if your father is Omni-Man and then Paul is just a regular guy who, an estate agent, like, by contrast, yeah, maybe a little boring in some ways. But, but at the same time, like, I really like as well when Mark's like, oh my God, like, you're going to sell the house. Like, this is where we grew up. And then I like when Mark catches himself and he's like, wait.
Yes.
This is actually not about me. This is about my mother's happiness. Like, of course we support you. Like, we'd love to. I hope, I'm so pleased that you found someone that makes you happy. And I love when he catches himself in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I that's the thing I have really liked is that Mark has been pretty good to her throughout this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm 43 and I was a little weird when my dad started dating after my mom. So it's like understandable, but he's like picking it up and he's like Debbie's been through a lot. So like, I'm just glad she doesn't have to deal with like her sons being weird.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%. And like, that must have been tough for her as well to have that conversation because she knows that's not just her house. That's like where they've lived their whole lives, So like, it's going to be tough for her as well. But, as we've said, like this family unit just works so well. And I'm just pleased that they do support each other. And like, fucking hell, that's exactly what they need right now, given everything they've been through. So yeah. No, and she deserves to be happy. Like Paul seems to make her happy. He seems to be a nice guy. So she absolutely fucking deserves it. Like, my Debbie. Nobody's coming for my Debbie. Then we get this scene of Eve and Mark on the roof.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I felt bad for everybody. I felt bad. She's trying to she's like, I know there's not gonna be a good time for this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, this is the worst time for this.
Yeah. But like, everything just like, when Mark says like, I'm actually not okay, like I'm not okay, but I will be. Oh my God. Like I mean, Stephen Young, we've talked about a million times, is so fucking good in this role.
Yeah.
But the delivery of that line alone, that's like, I've myself have said that line. Ian, you've said that line. You know what I mean? It's like to hear that from him, like, oh my God, I'm there with you. Like it was just, and I love again that like, Eve has this massive fucking thing that she's got to tell you, but even in that moment, she's still like, oh my God, let's talk, and she's just so supportive with Mark, and I really love to see that.
And then 2 seconds later, we blow it all up because fucking I gasped when we,
Did you?
Like, when the screen like showed Nolan in the air, I was like, oh my God. I think also because I was so like kind of clocked out for most of the episode watching the first time. I was like, all right, whatever, we're doing the hell thing. Mm-hmm. And for that to be the kicker, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, to be honest, that was a great fucking ending. And that is literally from the comic. Like that beat for beat, like them on the rooftop, she's about to tell him, and then they both look and they're like, oh my God. And like even them in the sky, Nolan with no shoes on, showing feet for some reason. Like all of that beat for beat, exactly the same. So I really love that it captured that. But yeah, what a great ending to the episode though. Like that for me is the perfect setup for arguably the best episode of the season so far coming next. Hands down. And I say it literally like the next episode starts where this ended. So like from that moment. But it's great. I'm excited for you to watch that, and I need you to text me immediately afterwards because I need to know all of your thoughts. But yeah.
I'm probably going to put it on right after this, honestly.
Please. I'm so excited. Well, obviously that kind of, isn't the full ending because we do get the little after credits scene when Damien is climbing up on that side of the building on top. He has his fucking Batman pose with like the moon behind him. Like, what are we doing? Like, honestly. And then like Satan's talking to him and he's like, I'm giving you this mission as his cape is blowing behind him. I was like, is this a thing? And yeah, then he's basically saying, I want you to find out why Volcanica wanted to rise up from hell and take out the humans. There's a reason. There's something that they've done that has triggered her. You need to find out what this is. And hey, you never know. Maybe Satan will come back onto Earth for a little bit. I'm just like, okay, all right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because also, I don't care, right? I don't care why she did that. For me, it was just very like, oh, it's a villain. She's trying to take over. Sure.
Literally, yes, that's exactly. It's like comic book 101. Like, villain wants to take over the Earth. Oh, we've never seen that before. Like,
Right. That doesn't seem like I need to investigate further.
Right, exactly. Like evil, tick. Wants to take over, tick. Like we're done. Investigation
Yeah.
over. Yeah, but that kind of rounds out the episode in a way. Ian, I guess what's your kind of overall thoughts of this, and then where do you sit with a rating out of 10?
I mean, it's not like it's probably my least favorite episode of the show, but I don't know. It's not like it was like the worst thing I've ever
Yeah,
watched.
yeah.
I think I'd go like I forget you do out of 10, right?
Yeah.
I think I'd do like 4.
Whew.
4.5.
Yeah, damn. All right, spicy. That's the Latino fire coming out in Ian there. No, I mean, I agree. Like, this is like, I don't know, because Invincible's such a high standard, right? Like, in itself, like, its own standard is so fucking high. So, like, when you get an episode like this, which is very filler, and there's like, even in the comic book as well, there's a lot more going on here. So I'm kind of surprised as to why. But, like, Robert Kirkman can do his own thing. If he wants to tell a story, hey, fair enough. Like he can do that. Like he's got the opportunity to do that, and I love that for him. And as we've said, I just hope like this kind of comes back around in some meaningful and much more interesting way, like towards the end of the season, or if it bleeds into the next, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, like as an episode, like for me, not great. I'm sitting like 5 out of 10. But the things that I do like in there, I actually do really like. So like
you reacted to me as if your grade was going to be way higher. Your grade's like the same as mine.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, I was on the cusp of 6, but I was like, nah, it doesn't deserve that. It's 5. But yeah, I don't know. Like the things I like in this, I really do like. I love the opening. I love the ending. I like that conversation, as I said, that Mark has with Damien is the falling down the pit. What a weird fucking sentence, but you know what I'm saying. The conversation they have about heaven and hell is they're falling down a pit. But
going to get a crown for Satan.
Yeah, going to get a crown for Satan. That doesn't actually make any difference. But yeah, I like that stuff, and I like the character beats, but. Yeah, I don't know, just Damien wasn't the character to, for me, go off on the beaten path to explore. Like, there's much more interest.
But I also feel like knowing, like, you and I liked a lot of the same shit. This easily could have landed very well for both of us. Like, this is, like, in our wheelhouse of stuff we like. Like, a demon who's, like, maybe kind of good, fighting other demons. Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
Right.
They, like, are sarcastic. Like, those are things that you and I like.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite work here.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a literal hellmouth, like, hello. What are you talking to? But yeah, I don't know. There was just something. It just, as you said, Ian, perfectly there. It just didn't land. There's some of the version of this. If we ever did a rewrite of this episode, we would definitely make this bad boy land. But yeah, what was your kind of standout? Okay, what was your standout scene? And then if there was a character Invincible that you would have liked to have an episode that focuses more on than Damien, who do you think that would have been?
I feel like it's cheating to say the end I feel like
That's fair.
So of course I liked the end, but I'm going to try to pick them falling in the pit because I did like their conversation. That was the one time when they were talking a lot and I did like it. The rest of the time, because there were a few times when they're talking a lot, I didn't really like when Satan's explaining his plot. I'm like, oh, Bruce Campbell, you're so sweet. But like,
I don't care what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think that's like, if we're going for the in hell scenes, that would be my favorite in hell scene.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who would I like? Honestly, but I know he's gone, is Rex. Rex Splode is who I would have liked to get his own episode.
Yeah.
I can't think of, I guess if it's like characters who are alive right now, I don't know. Maybe William, since he's been so like not present the last like season.
Yeah, no, completely fair. Totally fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm exactly the same as you, by the way. Like, favorite scene, obviously excluding the ending, which is at the moment of the episode, let's be real. But yeah, the falling down the pit, like, just as I already highlighted, like, the conversation I really like. I like the beauty in that conversation, I think is really nice. It was just, it was nice to see that side of Damien as well, for all that he could be a caricature for like the full episode. It was nice to feel that kind of depth to him a little bit more. But yeah, and then in terms of characters, like Rex would be a lot of fun, as you said, like especially the fact that like they started to build him up, right? He was having that relationship with Shrinking Ray, and like, you know, he became a character that you and I loved by the end, and we started off hating him, you know? So, and I feel, I don't know, I feel his like loss, like I miss him in the show. Like, I don't know if you're the same.
I do, yes.
Yeah, I really miss him just for like comic relief, but also just a great character to watch. Like, I really genuinely miss him. Other than that, I don't know, like, I think Immortal would be quite interesting to see, like him through the different ages. I think it would be quite an interesting episode to see, especially being like Abraham Lincoln, like in that era, would be like really interesting.
Do we know how long he's been around?
I mean, thousands of years. We're not sure of the exact number, but yeah, he's like seen basically the history of mankind in many ways. But then, like, I don't know, like. We are going to, I mean, I was going to say like maybe like something with Monster Girl as well, because she's always quite interesting to me, but we're going to get a lot of her and Rex like very shortly, because remember they went through the portal and they're stuck there now. We're going to get that is a huge arc in the story, so in the comics. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do that. But yeah, Rex is a good shout. Maybe Immortal, and maybe a little bit of Cecil as well. Like we started to get a little bit more of Cecil's backstory in the last season, and I quite like that. So I don't know, maybe to see like the inner workings of like whatever Cecil's up to whenever anything else is going on would be quite interesting as well. But yeah, I want to say a big thank you, Ian, for jumping on and doing this. Honestly, I appreciate it. It's not, you know, it's tough when it's not a great episode, but it's always a pleasure to talk about, you know, Invincible with you. So I want to say I really appreciate you doing it. Tell everybody where they can find you online.
Find me at Ian X Carlos on all social media platforms. You can find SlayerFest98 at SlayerFestX98 on all social platforms, and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And My Bloody Judy is at My Bloody Judy, and you can find us on all the things as well.
There we go. So remember, if you want to watch the episodes of the podcast and not just listen, they're all available on YouTube. Just type in the podcast name, you will find it on there. If you want to find it on socials, it's just Last Week on Pod. Type that in everywhere, you'll find us there. We are available on all podcast platforms as well to listen to. If you want to follow me, I am at Straughan87. Type that in and you'll see my face. But yeah, once again, Ian, thank you so much. I am loving the hell out of going through this season again. It's such a great point. We're at the halfway point now, though, with episode 4, which is crazy.
I know, I'm like a little bummed because I'm like, oh no, I don't want it to be like, I feel like every season we have said this though, and it's like, crap, we're already at episode 4. We don't have that many left. I want more.
I know, literally, like, give us like 12 episodes in a season or something, please, because
and
like,
I don't even think that's unrealistic.
No,
right? That's like,
no, there's still so much story to tell. Like, literally, I'm excited for like episode 5. I'm excited for you to watch the next one, but like, episodes 6 and 7 and 8, if it's going to go where I think it's going to go, this is going to be some of the best stuff ever. So I'm so excited to see this stuff. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone for listening and watching. And until next time, take care.